All right, welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. So today we got the Car Enthusiast out driving Ironhide, the new truck for the channel. It is the 24 Ram 3500 Cummins diesel. If you guys don't know, he's had tons of luxury cars, tons of trucks and everything like that. Had an opportunity to be around to talk about fit and finish in some of these nicer cars. He's also had an opportunity to drive, well, both the other gassers on the channel, and again today we're looking at this truck. As for like fit and finish, we all know that the diesel is probably going to outdo a gas engine in a lot of respects, but we're going to get down and see what he actually thinks about it. All right, so we're a couple miles down the road. What's your initial impression of the 2024 Ram 3500?
I mean, there's not too many trucks that feel like trucks. This does. This is 100% just a fabulous vehicle for the way that it's put together and the way that it drives. I mean, it's total control. A little bit more bounce to it, a little bit more, truck feel, but still excellent the way that it operates, the way that it runs. Beautiful.
And you've had a lot of high-end cars we talked about in the other videos, Lincolns, high-end, like super high-end, like Jeeps. What do you think of the fit and finish compared to some of the other trucks you've driven on the channel? You drove the General, you drove Big Red, but I mean, where do you think this kind of ranks?
I would say this ranks probably above the other models, only looking at the fit and finish, the way that they've detailed the cabin itself, the way that the storage area is just absolutely, really amazing. What they've been able to do with the area, especially in the center section, all the way through the car is just really well put together from a storage mindset. A lot of people that are going to be driving this are going to be in it. They're going to be driving long distances. They need to have, a comfortable cabin. Ram does it.
And obviously compared to a gas, we're driving a diesel, so we have turbo. We have less horsepower than a gas, but we got about 2 times the torque. How does that feel?
Yeah, you can definitely tell. And even, actually, the horsepower isn't really going to be much different with all these vehicles. The torque is the important part. And lo and behold, you can absolutely, if you want to kick in the turbo, yeah, that's there. But lo and behold, you can feel that it really is a very strong feeling car, vehicle, truck. This personifies truck, really.
And it really is unique. The 3 different manufacturers have done different stuff. Each one's different feeling. It's not like you get in one, you feel like a carbon copy of the other. So each one adds its own little nuances.
Well, what you've done here by configuring the camera to give us the ability to see when you've put the blinkers on, to lo and behold have the same features and capabilities that even some of the foreign manufacturers like Hyundai's done. That actually gives you the ability to see your blind spot. I mean, everybody should be doing that in this day and age, especially with these 360 cameras. You should have the ability to have total control of every angle, to just be, again, from a safety perspective. That was a good way to set that up for sure.
Yeah, it's really neat. We'll go into what he's talking about here the next time we activate a blinker. We'll see it here. Ram did some really cool stuff, and when it comes to the activation of the cameras, the safety tech, and like he said, we should be having that at this day and age. Vehicles this size, there's no reason why not to have that activation. But I think in a few areas where Chevy and Ford could really kind of step over and just kind of copy that and bring those camera angles into.
It's really time for these manufacturers to not necessarily look at it from a competitive perspective, but more from a safety with all the technology that's available, they should be able to really put in place, from a safety perspective, should go number one, job number one. But this drives fabulously, and you can, again, you don't need the horsepower when you've got in 380.
Yeah,
horsepower?
I believe it's 385 horsepower.
That's more than no. There isn't too many people that are going to be able to tell the difference between 420, 380. The way it drives is perfect.
And I know we've talked about this before, but like Ford brakes, Chevy brakes. Obviously, Chevy has a very unique brake feel to itself. How do you feel when it comes to the brakes in the Ram?
The Ram, you've got to be very much like the Chevy. You've got to be ready to really apply the brakes in a good amount of distance. The Ford, and it's probably because I'm a Ford driver, has the best brakes. Feel, where every brake is pretty much fine. It's just you've got to make sure that if you're in a Ram, if you're in a Chevy GM product, you've just got to be a little bit more diligent on how you want to apply that brake as you come to a stop.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, from a driving feel, this is great.
It's a good place to be sitting in the cabin.
Yeah. Again, fit and finish. Probably one of the better out in the market right now. From the way everything's laid out, the way that this is laid out internally here. Here's that.
So there's our blind spot camera that you can set up to turn on when you activate right or left. Fantastic feature to have. Most manufacturers, you can't activate many of the cameras while in motion, period. And this is where they kind of did it. They added in that feature.
Yeah, it's such a great, mindset. Hyundai does it in the little corners of the dash. Okay, that's fine. Putting it here in the center section, absolutely, totally good. Your peripheral vision is picking up on, as you're making that lane change or turn, being able to see everything on the side of the car. And the back corner is vitally important, especially when you're sitting up this high. It's you want to have that visibility.
Yeah, it is definitely a tall ride height, and with the sport hood, it does sit up about 4 more inches over the standard hood. So it's something that people have to get used to. Although I think visibility, because the hood tapers off towards the edges, it's probably a little bit better visibility than the Chevy had.
It is. Again, it's the pitch of the hood, and the mirrors in this vehicle are incredible, especially with the blind spot below and side angle view. You're able to really zone in directly on the back end of the truck, bumper wise, and then your side mirrors. Great visibility for the full lane, even on the left hand side. Turbo is nice.
Just that good old Cummins feel, that growl.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, and one thing the other manufacturers do, and you don't typically drive a diesel truck, but I'm going to activate the exhaust brake. And the way Ram does it is the minute you let off the throttle, just like in a semi, it starts to want to grab that compression to slow the engine down. It's fantastic. But let's see what your thoughts are on full exhaust brake the next time you let off the throttle.
Okay.
And you won't necessarily hear it, but I mean, compared to the other manufacturers, really you gotta kind of activate the brakes to really engage that exhaust brake. And the Ram is not like that at all. If you hit the brakes at all, it'll engage a gear and the exhaust brake even more.
One thing you got to be really purposeful. It doesn't. I'm used to driving more of a car, even though it's an Aviator. It's more car-like. transitioning to a big vehicle like this is you've got to remember to make sure you're not going to oversteer, which can happen if you're not careful.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't take it for granted, even though it does drive very well for its size. Is when you switch into anything, even if you just go from a Ford to jump in a Ram, it's going to be the dynamics are different.
They are totally different. Not bad. It's more there's a little bit of a learning curve getting back into the different vehicles, but drive-wise, fabulous. Actually, with these 20-inch rims, it's a good feel. It's a very good feel.
Yeah, this is the off-road-esque tires. I guess a little bit more all-terrain tire on it, 20-inch rim. So, for what those are put together on this, it doesn't drive all that bad.
I'll turn here in a bit. Again, just a great ride, different than the others. Very truck-like, but completely manageable.
You feel that exhaust brake grabbing pretty quick. And it exacerbates the downshifts too, because it's grabbing that stop. I mean, really, Ram's the only one where I feel like if you set to cruise control, you wouldn't touch the brakes at all.
I could totally see that. It was the compression. You can feel that it really brings it into the way that it needs to drop down. It really does it well.
Yeah, it's a very distinct engine note, engine feel with that inline six. Everybody says that the V8 diesels are faster off the line. I guess there's this thing out there where 7,000 pound objects need to propel themselves 0 to 60 super fast. But I don't feel that the Cummins is that dramatically slower than, say, one of the Godzillas or Gassers that we drove, or where the Power Stroke or the Duramax would be that much faster.
You wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, it's just from the Gasser to the diesel, you're not able to distinguish between that end of it. You can feel that this has a lot more torque. You can definitely feel that, but it's built for that.
Right.
Again, just well put together. Again, that blind spot, really good form, fit, and function with that.
Yeah, and I think when we're looking at all these trucks, what we're trying to do on this channel is really distinct, pull apart and pull away the things that are different. What makes this truck different? They're all powerful. They're all move down the road. They all ride like a truck. They all have their cool little nuances. But at the end of the day, what does this truck offer more so than others? So you've had the chance to drive the gas General, which was an XLT. This is probably the most uptrim truck we've had on the channel so far. You had a chance to drive the Chevy gas. Do you think this now competes in a day where some of the things really haven't changed drastically? It's not the most powerful diesel. It's not the most, super savvy transmission. It's tried and true.
The gassers, they all drive very much the same. But you can definitely tell in this vehicle that it's more truck than even the others, because it's just a different drive. Well put together and that helps. That helps to make things even, you know, even.
All right, so back into the last final thoughts of it. Here you are, you're in the market for a new truck. You got Ram, you got Chevy, you got the Ford sitting there. Final thoughts, is this a competitor, even though it drastically hasn't changed in the last few years?
100% a competitor. I mean, there's not much difference between, you know, the Chevy and the Ram. If you look at the Ford, it is different even from the way that it drives, and the way you look over the hood, and the way that it's perceived as being a driver. But as you look at, you know, the Chevy and a Ram comparison, they're very, very similar. And would I buy this if I was in the market for a truck? 100% yes. You know, I'm a Ram fan too. I mean, I've had a lot of Jeeps that, you know, throughout the years, and their form, fit, function, capabilities, just awesome. And this particular Ram is really, really well put together. I mean, you can tell, you know, just looking at some of the spacing with all the areas in the car, from the way the dash wraps into the molding on the plastics are really well done. So 100% yes, this would definitely be a vehicle to purchase.
All right, you guys heard it first. All right, so there is the Car Enthusiast driving the 2024 Ram 3500. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, give me a like, and we're going to catch you on the next one.